Dear learners, now we will move towards the next slide, dimensions of verb phrase. There are four important dimensions of the verb phrase: tense, aspect, mood, and voice. These are the four important dimensions of the verb phrase. I repeat, in verb phrase, there are four important dimensions. Number one, tense, aspect, mood, and voice. We will first try to understand tense. Tense is a grammatical category related to the verb phrase. There are formal changes in the structure of the verb. For example, work, works, worked, and may, might, present tense and past tense. Semantically speaking, tense indicates time reference, present, past, or future. Dear learners, we should remember that grammatically speaking, there are only two tenses in English: the present tense and the past. For example, the child walks, present tense. In the second example, the child walked. This is the example of past tense. The present tense of the verb generally refers to the present time or the future time or all time. The past tense of the verb generally refers to the past time. I am referring time, not tense. The present tense refers to the present time or future time or all time, and the past tense refers to past time. There is no future tense as such in English. Dear learners, we should remember that there is no future tense as such in English. There are a number of ways to express future time reference. For example, they arrive tomorrow. The underlined verb arrive. Tense is in present tense, but there is a reference tomorrow. It has the reference of future time. They will arrive tomorrow. Will arrive. Here, there is the use of modal auxiliary will plus main verb. Will is in present tense and the time tomorrow has the future time reference. In the third example, they are arriving tomorrow. Are arriving. Are is in present tense and arriving, which is in ing form, so it is in continuous tense or in progression. Tomorrow again it has the future time reference. So here with these examples, I hope you understand that there are only two tenses: present tense and past tense. Now we will move towards the second dimensions of the verb phrase: aspect, its nature and type. Aspect is a verbal category. It is related to the structure of the verb phrase. It refers to the completion or non-completion of the action or state implicit in the verb. Unlike tense, it is not related to the time reference, past, present, or future. Now, we will see types of aspects. There are two types of aspect. Number one is perfective aspect, and the second is progressive aspect. The perfective aspect involves the use of the verb have followed by en, ven, that is en participle. And here with this tree diagram we can understand perfective aspect. In perfective aspect there is the use of have plus en, that is third form of the verb. The perfective aspect generally indicates the completion of the action. Dear learners, we should remember that the perfective aspect, which has the structure of have plus en, it indicates the completion of the action. While on the other hand, the progressive aspect involves the use of the verb be followed by ving, that is dash ing participle. And here is the structure of progressive aspect: be plus dash ing form. It generally indicates the action in progress or its incompleteness or its limited duration. As dash ing itself shows that the action is in progression, it is incomplete. Now here both the aspects, the perfective aspect and the progressive aspect, here they are contrasted in this table: tense, present tense and past tense, aspect, perfective aspect and progressive aspect. For example, The bell has rung. Has plus verb in third form. Ring, rang, rung. Has rung. So the action is complete. Has plus en structure is perfective aspect. The second example, the bell had rung. It is in past tense. Tense is past, had. Now we will move towards progressive aspect. The example is the bell is ringing. Is ringing. This is the verb phrase. Is present tense. Dear learners, I request you all to focus only on the first auxiliary verb. If you wish to identify the tense of the verb phrase, your focus should be on the first auxiliary verb. And with the first auxiliary verb, we can understand or identify the tense, whether it is in present tense or in past tense. So here, is the auxiliary verb with is in present tense. Ringing, it is in continuous tense. Progression. Is ringing, the action is in progress. It is incomplete. So aspect is progressive aspect. In the second example, the bell was ringing. Was here, was ringing. This is the verb phrase, and was is in past tense. So the tense of this verb phrase is past tense, and there is ing form. So it shows incompleteness, it shows continuousness. Aspect is progressive aspect. Both the aspects can be combined in the structure like this, called the perfective progressive aspect. Dear learners, if these two aspects, the perfective aspect and the progressive aspect, both these, if these two aspects are combined, it is called as perfective progressive aspect. For example, have plus ben plus dash ing form. For example, the bell has been ringing. Has been, perfective aspect has been plus dash ing. It is continuous. So it is the example of perfective progressive aspect. The bells have been ringing. In the third example, the bells had been ringing. Have been, has been, and had been plus ringing. So with these examples, I hope you understand the aspect of the verb phrase. Aspect belong to both the types of VPs, that is finite VP and non-finite VP, while tense belongs to the finite verb phrase only. Dear learners, this is very important point to remember. I repeat once again, aspect belongs to both the types of VP. There are two types of verb phrase, finite verb phrase and non-finite verb phrase. Here, aspect belongs to both the VPs, but tense belongs to only finite verb phrase. All the examples above illustrate the finite verb phrase. Now, we will see the examples of non-finite verb phrase. For example, being interviewed by a fool is a fun. So here, being interviewed, it is dash ing, perfective progressive aspect. Having reached Delhi, I drove to the India Gate. This is the example of non-finite VP. I am delighted to have seen it. There is aspect, dear learners. Having reached perfective progressive aspect. To have seen, he regrets not to have been consulted. Not to have been consulted is non-finite verb phrase. Having been examined, again this is the example of non-finite verb phrase. Having been examined by the doctor, I felt relieved. Now we will move towards the third dimension of verb phrase. Dear learners, we studied the first two dimensions of verb phrase, tense and aspect. Now we will move towards the third dimension of the verb phrase, that is mood. Let us discuss here in terms of mood and its types. What is the nature of mood? Mood expresses the kind of attitude of the speaker. Remember friends, mood, as the word itself suggests, mood, it shows the attitude of the speaker. Attitude of the speaker has towards the action. It shows whether a clause expresses a factual, non-factual, or directive meaning. Like tense, the mood is a verbal category related to the finite verb phrase only. Here, in this slide, we are going to study types of mood. Dear learners, there are four types of moods of the finite verb phrase. Number one, declarative mood. Number second, interrogative mood. Number third, subjunctive mood. Number four, imperative mood. Declarative mood is used for statements as declarative sentences itself suggests it is a declarative mood or the statement, and interrogative for questions of factual nature. Interrogative means questions. For example, it's cloudy today. It is a statement. So, what is the mood? How is the mood of the speaker? It is a declarative mood. It isn't true. It isn't true. It is a negative sentence, but it is a statement. So, the first two examples are the examples of declarative mood. In the third example, is the doctor in? This is interrogative sentence. So, this is the example of interrogative mood. The mood is interrogative. There is a question mark. Now we will try to understand moods in detail. In modern grammar, we use another term, modality, which can be related to the moods as discussed above and use of the modals as well. It is a semantic category and therefore refers to such meaning categories as question, statement, request, ability, wish, permission, possibility, insistence, and prohibition. For example, give me a glass of water. Now, here the mood is imperative mood. I will make it simple. Imperative sentences start with the main verb. Give is the main verb. Give me a glass of water. It is the mood is imperative mood. Meaning, what is the meaning? Either the speaker is requesting or making an order. In the second example, will you give me a glass of water? Here, there is a question mark at the end of the sentence. So the mood is interrogative mood. And the meaning, what is the meaning? Will you give me a glass of water? The meaning is request. The speaker is requesting to give him or her a glass of water. In the third example, I request you to give me a glass of water. This is the declarative sentence. It is a statement. There is no question. There is no request. Means the sentence doesn't start with the main verb. So the sentence is a statement, declarative sentence. I request you to give me a glass of water. But meaning, the mood of the speaker is he is requesting. Dear learners, I would like to note the sentences in declarative or interrogative mood are said to be in indicative mood. I repeat, the sentences in declarative mood or interrogative mood are said to be indicative mood. It indicates, so the mood is indicative mood. Now we will move towards the second mood, subjunctive mood. It is used to express wishes. Dear learners, we should remember that the subjunctive mood is used to express wish, conditions, and other non-factual. If it is factual, then it is statement. But here, it is non-factual situations or statements using any of the three types. Number one, mandative subjunctive or word subjunctive and formalized subjunctive. Here, there are three types of subjunctive mood. Again, I repeat, subjunctive mood expresses wishes, conditions, or non-factual situations. Number one, mandative subjunctive. For example, I request or requested that he see me tomorrow. Mandative subjunctive, expressing mandatory attitude. I demanded or demand that he leave at once. Leave. This is mandative subjunctive. Word subjunctive or subjunctive word. If I were you, I would not go there. This is word subjunctive. I wish it were done. This is again the example of subjunctive word. The third type of subjunctive mood is formalized subjunctive. Come what may, I shall attend the meeting. This is formalized subjunctive, fixed or set expression. Come what may. The second example is again the example of formulaic subjunctive. Be it noted that the order was placed in good faith. Be it noted. It is the example of formulaic subjunctive. Now we will move towards imperative mood. It is used to express the directive, utterances. For example, shut the door. Imperative sentences start with main verb. So here, in this example, shut the door. Shut is the imperative, the mood of the sentence is imperative mood order. Come in, please. Here, the imperative mood, but the meaning is request. Dear learners, please note the VPs in imperative mood are finite VPs and have no tense and aspect. There is no tense, there is no aspect in imperative mood. Dear learners, now we will move towards the fourth dimension of verb phrase, that is voice. I would like to request you to watch my video in detail. Don't skip anything if you wish to make it clear all the concepts of verb phrase. So here, learners, in this slide, now we will move towards voice. Voice is the fourth dimension of verb phrase. Let us study the term voice and its types. Voice, its nature. The grammatical category, voice is related not only to the VP but to the whole clause structure. It defines the relationship between the action and the doer of the action. Now we will move towards the types of voice. There are two ways in which voice expresses itself. Number one, active voice, and number second, passive voice. In active voice, the subject is the doer of the action, also called as the actor, while in passive voice, the subject is the affected participant or the sufferer or patient. Passivization involves a total rearrangement of sentence element, but the meaning remains the same. There is no change in the meaning or verb. The first example is the example of active voice. Mary loves John. Mary is the subject, which is the doer, which is the actor. Here, Mary is the actor. Loves is verb. John is object. And now we will see the example of passive voice. Here, the object of active voice becomes the subject in passive voice. So John becomes the subject, and there is a use of proper verb form or tense of the verb. Loves is in present tense, so the form of present tense is used is, and use of third form of the verb loved. So verb is loved, and it is attached by. The sentence is attached by, and the subject in the active voice becomes the object or the agent or adverbial in the passive voice by Mary. Dear learners, this is the structure of passive verb. Be plus dash el, that is, passive structures are generally used in scientific discourse and official correspondence. Please note, dear learners, I repeat, passive structures are generally used in scientific discourse and official correspondence. Dear learners, with this, I would like to conclude. Dear learners, in today's e-lecture, we have tried to understand and study the various dimensions of verb phrase, as there are four dimensions of verb phrase. Number one, tense, aspect, mood, and voice. I request you all to subscribe my YouTube channel, like and share among your friends and learners of English. Thank you one and all for joining with me.